Hello everyone, and yeah, thank you to ABS for inviting me along to talk today. So my name's Sarah. I am the founder of Bright and Well Yoga. I'm a yoga teacher and also a certified wellness coach. My background is in corporate accounting, and over the years I've gradually become interested and very passionate about sharing ways to improve mental and physical well-being. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what wellness actually is, to start off with, and I'll be sharing some tools that I share in my wellness coaching, just to help you have a little think about what wellness might mean to you and little ways that you might be able to make kind of little changes in your life that are achievable, but that can make a big difference. So the focus of Mental Health Awareness Week this year is on nature. So I'll be trying to draw in some things that are nature related, that might be helpful, as there are lots of benefits from kind of connecting in with nature for both your mental and physical well-being. And then in the second half of the session, I'm going to be focusing on some things that have been found to be kind of key challenges within the ABS community, but I think they're pretty universal. So we're going to talk about work-life balance, perfectionism, and stress and anxiety as well, and talking about how you can maybe manage those and some little tools and tips for dealing with day-to-day life and feeling well. So at the end of the session also, there's going to be a really short breakout room where you can kind of talk in a smaller group about things that might have come up in the session, and even set yourself an action for the coming week or coming weeks. So there's no obligation to talk if you don't want to, and you can have your camera on or off. So that's what to expect. So I'll launch in and talk a little bit about what wellness is. So it's really a holistic look at your mental and your physical and your social well-being. There's a really good book by Ruth Allen. I'll show you here. It's got lots of tags in it, but it's called Grounded, and it's about the connection with nature on your mental and physical well-being. And in that book, there's a really helpful description of wellness being an overall sense of physical, psychological, and social wellness that goes beyond the simple absence of illness and disease. So it's not just about kind of staying out of the doctor's surgery, it's kind of ways that we can thrive rather than just survive. And there can be a tendency to just be in this survival mode. Human beings are very good at finding ways to be efficient and move into autopilot. So a lot of the time we kind of go from day to day kind of on autopilot, not really thinking about why we're doing things maybe, and just getting things done, ticking them off our to-do list. And especially in the modern world that we're in, we've got technology, everything's about productivity and thinking about what we've achieved, where we're going, looking towards the future, and that can often be at the detriment to thinking about the moment that we're in at the moment. So being present, enjoying each moment for what it's worth. And life is made up of these individual moments. So if we're constantly just not really engaged and looking ahead to what's next, we're never really fully living each moment as it comes along. And I think that's one area where nature can be really useful. It kind of makes us pay attention. It's ever changing. So getting out in nature can be a really good way of just pausing and getting out of autopilot. And okay, so I can hear some background noise. If people can make sure they're on mute, that would be great. Thank you. So being on autopilot and being busy, it might seem like it's not really having that much impact, but actually being on this kind of high alert, low level of stress, it can start to build up over time, and it can start to have an actual physical impact on your immune system, maybe your sleep, your ability to focus. And it can show up as physical tension as well. And um, the reason why kind of there's a lot more focus on mental health these days is because stress is a direct contributor to that. So these low level stresses can all build up. So it's a good idea just to have ways to slow down and maybe start to think about whether you have got areas of your life that are causing you stress and maybe are out of balance. And all the things that I share are all kind of basically linked to slowing down. So it's about yoga, noticing your body, how it's feeling. We'll be doing a yoga session on Wednesday. I'll be talking about mindfulness and meditation on Friday. So that's another really great way of just slowing down and stepping out of autopilot and noticing what's going on. And then I also offer coaching sessions, which I'm going to move on to now. So coaching is a really good way of objectively looking at kind of what's going on in your life and having a little bit of an audit, I guess. So I'm going to get you all to grab a pen or a pencil and a bit of paper if you've got one handy. And I'm going to show you something on my screen. It's called the balance wheel. And I just want you to spend a few moments. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to share my screen. I might just talk through this verbally. So if you want to, you can jot down these segments that would be in this wheel. And they're different elements that make up your life as a whole. So I'm thinking of career, money, health and well-being, friends, family. I think I can share my screen now. Okay, bear with me one moment. Okay, so we've got this list here. So hopefully you can see that. We've got the segments of this circle around here. So I've talked about career, money, health and well-being, friends, family, personal development. So whether you've got things in your life that are helping you build skills and knowledge and kind of giving you that sense of purpose and growth. Your relationships with a partner. We've got family down here and friends. So just kind of romantic relationships in your life. How much fun and recreation there is. And then also something that's probably kind of key with the audience I'm talking to today is like your physical environment. So whether your home is a source of comfort and relaxation, or whether it's something that causes you stress, or it could be your outside world. So maybe you're living somewhere that's quite noisy, or alternatively you might kind of rate really highly in that area if you're living somewhere that's got access to parks and nature and things that really might boost your well-being. So having a little look at that list, all of these ones on here are scoring 10. So this is somebody that's got it absolutely nailed and it's all balanced. But I would invite you to just have a little think about these different areas and see where you would score. And the important thing is to not think about what it looks like on the outside. You're thinking about how you personally feel, your own level of satisfaction. So how it makes you feel. Don't worry about what you might perceive other people to expect of you or how you think it looks. So you're talking about your own satisfaction here. So just take a moment to do that. And I'll move on to one that is not scoring 10 in each area so that you can see how it looks and how this tool can be useful. So ABS will be sending this out with an email after the session, so you can have a go at this in your own time. But you can see here, this person their career, their physical environment, and their family and their relationships are scoring quite highly. But you can see here that they maybe don't spend enough time having fun with friends and spending time kind of just having fun for the sake of it. So this would highlight that these are areas that maybe need to be brought a little bit more into balance. And it's not what your score is really, it's about kind of just having a well-rounded approach to your well-being. So this kind of coaching exercise, I'll stop sharing the screen now. That's a really good way of taking an objective look, and it's worth investing some time to just have a little think about what areas of your life are going really well for you and which ones maybe need a little bit of attention, and maybe you could start to think about some priorities in those areas. So I'm going to just move on now. So that kind of shows you what a balanced life might look like. So I'm now going to talk about the challenges to achieving that sense of balance, because it's not a case of just saying, oh, I'm going to make that area of my life more satisfying. There's responsibilities, you need to earn money, perhaps there's so many different things in life that get in the way. So I'm going to talk first about work-life balance, because I think that's probably something that is in everybody's life here. Especially so we're coming out of, hopefully, the pandemic. Work and life and routines has seen a big change for a lot of people over the last kind of 14 months or so. And even if you did have a good sense of work-life balance before, that could have been all thrown into the mix. So it can be worth re-looking at. And what we're talking about here is kind of setting boundaries. So whether you're working in an office or you're working from home, we have a need for these boundaries between our working life and the time that we spend maybe bolstering those areas of that well-life balance circle, that balance wheel. So things that you do to relax and recharge. Technology these days, it means that we have the ability to be switched on 24/7. You can roll out of bed and be checking your emails. You can be multitasking, watching a film whilst checking your work emails. There is the potential to never allow yourself to be switched off and relaxed. And this can come from within ourselves. So it might be kind of your work ethic that is driving this. It could be your culture at work. So it could be an unsaid or an even spoken expectation that you should be looking at your emails at certain times. And we're really influenced by the people around us. So it can be worth thinking about the people that you're surrounding yourself with. So whether that's colleagues or friends, there's research that shows that we're the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So thinking about model behavior around you, and maybe communicating if things are not working for you. So if it seems to be the culture that people are working really long hours, maybe questioning that, seeing whether that is an expectation or whether it's something that just seems to be happening on autopilot. And thinking about priorities. So I'm going to show you a little exercise here, actually. So with our phones and with technology, we do have the ability to be very distracted, and things can just be kind of arrive in our inbox without us really knowing that they're going to be there 5 minutes before. So when we're looking at that balance wheel and looking at life in general, it can be really helpful to prioritize what really matters to you. So get clear on your values and the things that you want to have as part of your week, maybe your month, So I've got this jar here, hopefully you can see this. It's got 3 oranges in it. And these are the priorities. So these might be going for a walk at lunchtime every day. It might be checking up with your friends. It might be going for a run. It could be anything that is going to kind of make you feel happy and well. All these little chickpeas are all the distractions, all the emails, doing the laundry, kind of checking your phone, anything that is just kind of a little thing that can just distract from your priorities. So you can see that all fits in there neatly. I'm just going to show you. Make some noise. Okay. So I'm going to show you what happens when we don't kind of keep an eye on those priorities. So I'm going to put these back into the jar. Okay. And you can see that if we just let everything just kind of fall in, there's no longer enough space. And that's the same amount of time. But if we let everything else just come before our priorities, then there's not enough room for them when we get, say, to the end of the day, the end of the week. So it can be a really useful way to think about your day and your time management and just set those priorities in advance. So planning goes a really long way, thinking about what really matters to you. And I'm going to talk a bit about stress. So I did mention it there, that kind of constantly being on and yeah, contactable. It can lead to these like micro stresses, which over time just prevent us from moving into a rest and digest mode in our nervous system. And if we don't kind of come out of this fight and flight and constantly kind of on high alert, then our immune system and our bodies just think that we're only focusing on the vital functions. It kind of dampens down the things it sees as non-essential, so things like digestion, sleeping well, and yeah, fighting illness. So it's really important to perhaps prioritize with those oranges. One of those maybe could be ways of bringing yourself into a relaxed state. So nature and exercising in nature are really good ways of reducing stress. It could be going for a walk. Even things like having a view of nature can be really useful for lowering stress hormones and helping you have a kind of a better sense of perspective as well. Seeing our place in the world when we're out in nature can make kind of worries seem a little bit smaller. So using kind of nature to help in that way can be useful. I'm going to talk about one more thing before we move into some breakout rooms, just to share in the breakout rooms what kind of you might set as your priorities in the next week and thinking about those areas of the balance wheel. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is perfectionism, which I think when we're in perhaps jobs that require a lot of focus, you may have had to do lots of exams to get where you are. There can be a tendency to really just want to achieve like the highest standards possible. And often perfectionism is kind of cited as being a positive thing, like you say in a job interview, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and that's kind of seen as a good thing, but actually it can really hold you back. So it can prevent you from setting those healthy boundaries with work-life balance, because you're constantly striving to be the best you can, which can lead to burnout and just that constant level of stress. It can mean that you've got kind of this inner critic on your shoulder the whole time telling you you're not good enough, which means you're not enjoying each moment. So practices such as self-compassion and talking to yourself like you would a friend can be really helpful for that. Another trait of perfectionists is procrastination. So you can end up putting things off and not starting because you're worried that you're not going to achieve that perfect result. So that is another way that it can show up. So if you are somebody that kind of struggles to start things, perhaps it's worth having a little think about perfectionism, and how you can bring a little bit more balance in. And if you are struggling to motivate yourself, thinking about your future self, so if you are procrastinating, or if you're struggling to think that your health and well-being is a priority, then thinking about how your future self will thank you is a really good way of framing that, and making some little changes. I think everyone is back from the rooms. I hope you had a chance to share some thoughts that might have come up from what I've said. Apologies if anyone was in a room on their own. I think some people dropped out at the mention of breakout rooms, and it all kind of, yeah, some people were left on their own. So hopefully you managed to join another group. I think we tried to manage to do that. I don't know if anyone wants to share any thoughts that have come up, either in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourselves. We've got a couple of minutes just to share anything. Then feel free. I know it can be a bit daunting, but feel free to type something into the chat. And if not, then do feel free to get in touch. I think my details will be going out with an email after this. So if you want to ask any questions about wellness coaching, or you want any kind of ideas for how to bring a bit more balance into your life, and you can find me on Instagram as well. It's bright_and_well. There's some yoga videos on there as well. And I hope you can join for the next session on Wednesday for some yoga, and a little bit about mindfulness and meditation on Friday. So, somebody's liking the oranges in the jar. That's something I always think about. Yeah, trying to prioritize. So I hope you all have a great day, and thank you all for listening.